Hey, everybody, welcome to the MURCA Guns and Freedom podcast with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. As always, this is just an open chat. You can ask whatever questions you want to ask, suggest whatever topics you want to suggest, and you don't have to just talk to me. If you've got a question and maybe I don't know the answer, well, there's a lot of people here that might. There's like 125 people here might have the right answer for you. So feel free to ask. And other people will weigh in if they know the answer and I don't, or they might weigh in if they know the answer, even if I do, or maybe they know it. I think I know it and I don't really. And that brings us to the second thing I like to be here for. If I am wrong about something, feel free to challenge me. If I've said something in a video or live broadcast, whatever, that you think is factually wrong, or you just think I'm philosophically wrong, whatever, let me know. I love it when people challenge me. I love a good debate. So come at me. We'll even do a little episode of Spank the Yank. Now, I like to start the chat by reading people who have my noses itching something horrible. I like to read the chat by reading orders that we've gotten, because orders of merchandise like my Willie versus Bruce, which is a mashup of Jaws and Steamboat Willie. And Steamboat Willie is now public domain, and sharks are, it's a shark. Fucking prove it, Bruce. Although I titled it Willie versus Bruce, so let's forget I said that. Let's get over here and read the orders, because like I said, that does go support TYMP. We got a lot of orders today. Where'd all these orders come from? I think it's because I added the new shirts. Let's go see. Buddy Angus Shepard Jr., who's been ordering a lot of stuff lately, ordered a Mavis mug. The mug with Mavis with her gun on it. I haven't sold one of those in forever. Paul Renner got a couple of the possum shirts, the assault possum, North American Armored Assault Possum, which is really an armadillo. Jay Lugo, Heavy J, got him one of the corporal shirts. I'll keep that in mind. I'll tell you what those are here in a minute. George Powell finally bought the shirts he had me design. He had me design 2 shirts for him. Well, the design I already did. He just had me change from a black cat to a tuxedo cat, which took 15 minutes. But then he didn't buy them. Well, I sent him the link to them at first, but I had sent it to him the link at cost. So the shirts were only $12. And he said, I don't think these should only be $12. So I said, oh, yeah, you're right. So I changed the price to put my $7 on there I should get. And then it took him forever to order them. But I did sell 2 more of them in the meantime. And now he's ordered them. So I've actually sold 4 of them. So he bought those finally. And then Johnny Mandrick got a sergeant shirt. And I'll tell you what those are in a minute. And old Tommy Thompson, he got a mouse gun shirt. We were talking the other day what design I have done if I was going to get a tattoo, which I have 0 tattoos. I'm just not that interesting, I guess. What would I get? I think I would get that little Mickey Mouse with the guns. I like that. I drew that. It'd be my design. I'd have to get it here. This is like the only part of my body that's not hairy that I can actually put something on and you'd see it. Anywhere else, I would love to have one like right here. You know how they get the tattoos on the forearm, on the bottom side of the forearm right there? But I'm hairy. Whatever I got there would be fuzzy. I don't want the fuzzy design. That's probably a little too much about me. You didn't need to know that. And then John Mandrick chimed in again. What did he get? He got a captain shirt too. I guess he's going to be different ranks on different days. But speaking of those orders, those shirts, let me share this window right here with you. I just want to show you that I did add a new set of designs over there. Well, they're not new. We've had them on other things before. But if you want to become an official member of the TYMP K9 unit, you can now become a corporal, a sergeant, or a captain. If you buy the corporal shirt, you'll notice it's $19.99. That gets you the rank of corporal. If you want to be a sergeant, you'll see it goes up to $24.99 because you can't be a sergeant at the same price as a corporal. And if you want to be a captain, it's $29.99. Now, that's because you'll be given $17 to pets and vets instead of $7. You'll give $12 if you're 17 with this. So, how sometimes I'll do things like if you sign up and you're a member for 3 months, you get a t-shirt. Well, it'd still end up costing you the same much in the long run, but you can get it right away. So those are new up there. So if you want to become an official corporal, sergeant, or captain in the TYMP K9 unit, it's got Turnip there with his little cowboy hat, his bandana. Go on over there, sign up. I should do a private one with Django on it. Maybe I will. I don't know. Because you got to have privates. If you don't got privates, what do you got? Well, I mean, I don't mean like your privates. I mean, like you got to have privates in the military. You got to have grunts. Let's just say that. Everybody's got privates, I hope. Well, unless you've been involved in like a major industrial accident or something. But I don't want to shame anybody that doesn't got privates. Let me get that right now. Hopefully you have them. If you don't, as long as you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. But I bet you're not okay with it if you don't got no privates. That was longer than it needed to be, but let's get on with the chat today. I've got people sending in emails over here. When I get to the emails, I'll show those. Let's see. Do we got any live chats coming in? We got George Powell says, so what you're saying is instead of 2 shirts, you sold 4. You're welcome. Yeah, I sold 4. You still ain't beat Nominal Snowman. He's the one that suggested I do. He's the one that wanted a shirt with Cotton Hill on it saying, in this country, we used to shoot Nazis. And I wouldn't do it because I'm like, that's bootleg as hell. That's not a character I can use. And he was, insistent. I think he almost cried or something. I haven't seen him in a while, but I think he almost cried. So I had to make it for him. And I made it for him. And it turned out to be one of my better selling shirts, like the 3rd best selling shirt of all time. I think I've sold 25 copies of that. So you're close with 4 because there's a lot of my shirts that have sold 1. I think I have some shirts that have sold 0. I don't know if anyone's ever bought the only channel that cares if you get eaten by a werewolf or does this gun make me look crazy? Ones that actually have my face on it. People don't seem to want those ones. It makes me feel bad, actually. Makes me feel like they're saying I'm not pretty. I used to be pretty. It makes me feel bad. The only thing worse than not being pretty is having used to been pretty and now you're not. Because that's heartbreaking. Because it's not like I was born rich. I always say I wish I'd have been born rich instead of pretty. You're born rich, you can stay rich your whole life. You're born pretty, it fades, it goes. And, I mean, I could stay better looking if I wanted to put the effort in, but I'm married. What's the point? And my life's over. So, been over for 32 years. I had to think about that for a second. Was it 92 or 93 we met? It was either 92 or 93. It was a long fucking time ago. I think it must be 92 because we moved up here in 96. But it was January of 96 we moved up here. I think we've been together for 4 years at that point. We're a little over. I don't know. We're just hitting 4 years, something like that. A little under, maybe. A little under 4 years, I think. That doesn't matter, does it? I don't know why I'm going on about it. All right, let me get over to the questions over here, see if we got any questions coming in. And everybody knows if you want to become a Patreon member, Subscribe Star member, you want to buy any of my merchandise, go over to TYMPpistolproject.com. If I get rid of George Powell's chat here, you'll see it right here. TYMPpistolproject.com. You can do everything from over there. You can become a patron, support Pets and Vets, become a Subscribe Star member, and support TYMPPP. You can get patches by joining certain tiers on either one of them. Or you can buy merchandise. There's a link there to my Shopify store to buy merch, or you can sign up to be a recipient of TYMPPP yourself. This month's recipients were, where did it go? Where did it fucking go? Hold on. There it is. Frederick G, Nana S, Nina with no last initial, and James M. And I sent y'all emails, so check your email for it. I need your information. You got till the 26th to respond. And that doesn't mean you miss out if you don't respond by the 26th. It just means that you'll have to wait till next month if you don't get to me till after that. It doesn't expire. I need to start making it expire. Had someone not too long ago come back after a year. They'd won a year ago and never claimed it, and I had to get them again. Hopefully you're not still in a bad situation after that long, but you never know. All right, let me get to the questions instead of ramble. Tonight's a rambly night, isn't it? Let's see. Tonight is the 18th, I do believe. So we got to get to the questions over here. What is today? There it is. Oh, a lot of people have weighed in now. I shamed them all into it, I think. I was like, shame on you. Glenn Heron paid his monthly. He does his monthly payment to the TYMP through PayPal because he doesn't like to use Patreon or Subscribestar. Michael C3PO chimed in and said, now that I've inspired 2 of your daily videos, when I get a tattoo of the Weed and Guns Yankee tune, I won't have to pay you royalties. Well, only every time you have sex, you have to pay me a royalty because I'm going to assume the only reason they slept with you is because of that cool tattoo. So you owe me $5 every time you get laid. And you can wait till you owe me, well, how high? I would say till you owed me $100, but I'll never get that if we have to wait that long. You'll be dead before then. Maybe I should do $20 a time, and then you can wait and you can pay me when you hit 100. I'll probably still never see it. Yeah, I got to get paid. I got to set a date where I'll actually get paid for it. Johnny Mandrick chimed in and said, sorry, I missed the first part. Any news on Washington gun laws? It's not good news. We had some stuff pass the Senate the other day. That just got to go back to the House for some tweaking, and then it'll end up going to the governor's desk. So be prepared for bad news. Be prepared for bad. You know, I bitched about there were no chats earlier, and now there's a fucking ton of chats. Should watch what I wish for. Although people are paying their tithes to Phil. It's nice to see that because, like I said, poor Phil's going to get carpal tunnel, flicking people's trailers into the air and smushing people. Some of you, I think he's just going to get to the point where he's just squish, 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 squish. And there's 5 people I'm thinking of specifically when he's squishing them. All right, let's get back to Richard Wilson chimed in, paid his $2 tithe to Phil, and said, oh, hell, Phil. He didn't ask a question. Remember, you can ask a question when you're paying your tithe to Phil. Keeps the conversation rolling. Per Gustafson paid his $2 tithe to Phil. How about shoot circle? Jerk circle sounds vulgar. Well, what's vulgar about a circle of jerks? A bunch of jerks sitting in a circle. I don't get it. Maybe he knows something I don't know. I don't know. Peter DeBoner, haven't seen him in a while. Where's Peter D been hanging out at? I'll come circle jerk tomorrow. A couple things I want to tell you anyway. That's too much for super chat. Okay. Oh, God. Hope he's not pregnant. He's not going to tell me he's pregnant, is he? I can't know babies at my age. I just don't want to get into that right now. I just got my life back. My kids are just old enough to take care of themselves. That was an order there from Johnny Mandrick. Then Michael C3PO chimed in again and said, I appreciate spicy Gwebs. Let him go off when he's wound up. He goes, NEA is a fancy boy for not showing. That's true. He is a fancy boy. Gwebs does get wound up. And I will say, we disagree on some things because Gwebs is way more trusting in people. And I think it's because he doesn't have the limitations I have. Because I know my limitations. I know how easily corrupted I would be. Like, I know if someone gave me a lightsaber, I'm going to be a Sith. Gweb's not. Gweb will be a Jedi. So he assumes everybody else would be a Jedi. I would be a Sith, so I assume everybody else would be a Sith. And even if they become a Jedi, I'm going to be like, yeah, they're really a Sith. Until they prove me wrong. So he is way more trusting and way more, well, he's got way more faith in certain people than I do. Because I think once dollars start flowing, it tends to change people's personalities. He thinks everyone is as devoted as he is. And Gwebs is exceptionally devoted to the Second Amendment. You know, he's not just some guy who likes guns and, you know, likes to go out and shoot. And, you know, he's someone who's strongly devoted to the Second Amendment. And he assumes everyone else is as motivated and as devoted as he is. And I don't share that belief because I know that I would be easily swayed. And I know you people ain't no better than I am. So George Powell chimed in again here and said, what is the trigger when we call the Agent Orange a dictator? Oh, what is the trigger when we call the Agent Orange a dictator? I'm sure many Germans realize they waited too long. He's trying to get licenses for free press revote. Yeah, they're doing a lot of things I don't like. But right now, like I said, I got blinders on. I'm looking at the Second Amendment right now. And I'm like, as long as we keep that and things stay strong, he'll be dead soon. And we'll be able to recover. So I'm keeping blinders on, following that Second Amendment stuff right now. So hope I got holding out hope for it. And then I'll deal with other stuff. Once we hit the midterms, if he loses Congress, well, then we don't think we have to worry about much of anything. And because nothing will get done because nobody will ever agree. So Stephen Elbert. I don't like any politicians. I wouldn't be happy no matter who won, to be honest. Not a gun question. You got your choice one of the four all 1970. 70 Dodge Challenger, 426 Mustang Boss, Dodge Challenger 426, Mustang Boss 302, Pontiac Trans Am 455, SD Corvette 427. I think I'm going to go with Trans Am. And I might sound weird, and a lot of people are like, why are you not taking the Boss? The Boss 302 is clearly the better car of the bunch. What some people are going to say. But you have to understand what a big part of my childhood the Pontiac Trans Am was. It was just a huge part of my childhood. It was the it car. Mustangs were great and everything too, but they were more popular with older people. Like, you see the Steve McQueen, the Bullets and stuff like that. The Trans Am, if you were a teenager or a kid in the 70s, which I was a kid in the 70s, I became a teenager at the late part, but it's going to be the Pontiac Trans Am. Now, Corvette had a place in my childhood too, like Corvette Summer and Eat My Dust. Anybody remember Eat My Dust? But those were very big parts. But yeah, you can't really beat the Pontiac Trans Am. I'm not saying it's the best car in the world. I mean, they had to pour shit ammonia under the wheels and stuff, or bleach under the wheels when they spun it off in the cartoon in the movies, because it wouldn't actually spin and make smoke, or barely spin even. I'm just saying it's one I'd want. There was one for sale on right down the road from where I lived when we first moved to Beaverton. And, it didn't have any extra money back then. We were a nursing student and a social worker at the time. And it was a pristine one for sale. And I think it was like $49.95 for it. And I remember $5,000 just being out of my wheelhouse. Just wasn't going to happen. But it was pristine. It was a gold one. And I remember thinking, if I had this, I'd be the queen of the white trash. I know what I said. Because that's definitely a queenie car. Let's see, where was I at? Who was it asked me that? Was that Stephen Elbert that asked me that question about the cars? Yes, it was. Now, remember, it don't got to be gun questions. We can do car questions and stuff here. That was another order by John and Mandrick. And then Jeremiah Thompson. Jeremiah always makes me think he's got suspenders, a flannel shirt, his hair's all slicked down, parted in the middle. It's probably a little cross-eyed, buck teeth. How close am I on that? If you like guns, vampires, werewolves, etc., you should try reading or listening to Monster Hunter International by Larry Corella. He also wrote in defense of the Second Amendment. I'll watch a movie if he makes one. I don't want to read nothing. I read a lot when I was young. I don't read much. Well, I mean, that's not true. I read all the time, but comic books mostly. See, now I picture him that same look, but he's reading books by, he's got an oil lamp sitting there reading his books at night because they ain't allowed electricity. It's the devil. Did you see the hijacked plane in Belize that the hijacker was shot by an armed passenger? Also repeal the NFA. Was it a sky marshal? It's probably a sky marshal. So it was an armed person on the plane. And good. That's what they're supposed to do. Shoot bad guys. That whole let them do what they want to do thing kind of went out the window in 2001. That was Christian Carlson, by the way. Paul Bidenbach chimed in and said, what is the minimum capacity gun you would carry? Well, 5, I guess. Because I carry a little J-frame revolver quite often, so 5. Although I will have to say I have carried guns with less. I've gone hiking before with a gun that only carried 4. Because it was a borrowed mare's leg. And it only held 4 rounds of 44 Magnum. So I've carried that. Now you could carry 5, but you'd have to rack one, reload another one, and then put it at half cock. And I didn't want to do that. So just carried it with 4. I wasn't the only armed person, so I felt okay. So I guess 4 would be the answer to the minimum I would carry. But for everyday carry, I think 5. 5 is the minimum I'll carry because I don't have a gun that carries less than that. Maybe a Derringer. I mean, if it's all I had, I'd carry a Derringer. So you could say 2 even, but I would hope I'd had more than that. But what would you carry and what would you carry if you had options? That's 2 different questions, actually. Like, would you carry a single shot Derringer if it's all you had? Well, yes, I would. If I had other options, would that be what I chose? Well, no, it wouldn't. So as you can see there, there's some gray area, shall we say. Was that Paul Bidenbach that just asked me that question? I can't tell where I was at. Yes, that was just Paul Bidenbach that asked that question. John Bushk, haven't seen him in a while. John Bushk just chimed in and said, sent you the list of the canceled Glocks last week. You didn't read down to 40 cal and 357 SIG being dropped. You should have paid attention. Not so funny now. Hope your new gun fails since I don't have one. Well, that's a mean thing to say. I'd never say something that mean to somebody. Yeah, I didn't pay attention when you sent me that list because I really didn't care about Glocks all that much. But now it's the principle. It's not so much that they're weeding down their selection. I wouldn't mind if they cut half their guns, but to cut out a couple of calibers completely, that's unless they're coming out with something Gen 6 in a 40. If they did that, they'd salvage it a little bit, but not a lot. Pissing me off what they're doing. I don't. John Mandrick chimed in and said, can Maisie be a general? Katz would be general. Yes, if I did one that was a general, it would have to be Maisie. Sherman would probably be, I don't know, lieutenant colonel. So, but Maisie'd be in charge. I should do one of her as a general that I give to people that do exceptionally, do an exceptional amount for, like there's a glass I send out to some people. Like I'm going to send out a couple more here in a month or a week or so. And then we got another order, I think it looks like. Let me go over and see if that's actually an order. Yes, it was Tim Allen. And what did he get? He got the K9 unit captain shirt. He got the captain shirt. So yay. Another sale. That was a good day on sales. We did a good day of sales today. So makes up for yesterday. We didn't do much of anything yesterday. They sold a couple of shirts and we got nothing in super chats because it was the podcast day. So that takes precedent. All right, 7 o'clock, but I said we're going to go a little late because we started a little late today. So let's get going here. George Powell said, have you checked your email? Yes, I have checked my email. I'll get to I should get to those now. No, I'm still doing super chats and then I'll get to the emails. We'll get to the emails today. I didn't get to them yesterday. We'll get to them today. Don't worry your pretty little head. We will get to them. Jacoby said, is there, I already did my treadmill, so I don't got to do that. Is there something to feel cannot do? Something to feel cannot do. Something that you can feel, but you can't. Is this a riddle? Oh, he's clarified it right down below. Is there something Phil cannot do? Well, I don't think he could make a rock so heavy he couldn't lift it. I don't think he could spend a day in a room with John Heasley without wanting to punch him in the throat. You know, even Phil's got his limitations. So yeah, there's some things he can't do, I'm sure. He can't stop all evil in the world. Yeah. Or else he would, you know, wipe Asian people off face of the map for eating all the squid that they eat and all the octopus and stuff. Because to him, that's like the prime evil. All right, let's get to the emails now. All right, first email we got coming in tonight, sharing the screen here. Where did it go? There it is, right there. Share. Boom. It is from Richard Wilson, new gun, H&K P2000 SK. Now that is the hammerless one right there. Now, that does have a decocker though, right? And then it's got the light double action. What do they call that? That trigger? I forget what they call it. But those are nice. I like those. All right, now we got the next one. Seriously, there ought to be a way to do this quicker. The way they got this is very inconvenient. You should be able to switch. George Powell showing us his SDR Diamondback he got. Looks very nice, I have to say. I love the look of that gun. It's a good looking gun. Would any J-frame grip fit it? I keep seeing J-frame round butt mentioned. Yes, any J-frame round butt will fit it. Now, a square butt wouldn't fit it because it's not a square butt. But any J-frame round butt grip will fit it. So anything you've got that's J-frame, round butt, it'll go on there. That's one of the good things about it. I like that. When they told me that, I was like, oh, that's a good feature. People talk about, will it take Glock mags? It's for revolvers. They should say, will it take Smith & Wesson grips? Because everybody's got those in their drawer somewhere. Present, share screen. I got a couple more here. Winder. Boom. Boom. This one is from 545x39, gray kitty named Pistolero Jr. Oh, look at that kitty. That's a boy, I assume, since it's Junior. Oh, look at that pretty face. He's got a little white jowl. And then we got one more here. Share screen. Winder. Where'd it go? There it is. We got this from Jeff Vaughn. Said, new to me gun. And I can't get it to undo off the. An 1885 high wall made in 1895. That's a pretty looking gun. Old gun. And is that scuba gear? Is he a scuba diver? I think he put that in there so we would ask if he goes scuba diving. Must live in like Florida or something. Or California or somewhere, I guess. Well, no, I don't know if he lives in California, but didn't seem depressed. All right, I think that catches us up on all the super chats. Let's go over to see if we make sure we got all the super chats caught up over here, and then I will move to the regular chat for a few minutes. Nope, Joe Pearson chimed in over here. Let's see what he had to say. Joe Pearson said, what's Phil's counter? Like God has Satan, Zeus has Hades, Thor has Loki. I don't think there is one. I think he just fends off general threats. I don't think he's got like a nemesis or anything. Because, you know, there's not always a counter. I mean, why would there be a counter to God? Why would God want a Satan? I mean, that's why the whole thing don't make sense. I'm all powerful and all good, but I want people to suffer. So I got to make something that'll make them suffer. Because I can't do it because I'm all powerful and all good and all loving, but they got to suffer for some reason. So I got to make a devil. Well, aren't you still doing it if you made the devil? That religion stuff, it just doesn't add up sometimes. It's just weird how it doesn't add up sometimes. It's almost like a bunch of old men in the olden times made up a bunch of bullshit to control the masses, knowing that they were illiterate and they wouldn't really think too much. So, because they were busy trying not to die of cholera. So it just sometimes don't make sense. Is Phil scared of Florida people? No, Phil's not scared of them. He can squish them like bugs. He could squish the entire state of Florida in a second. He could just adjust the size of his tentacle and you squish, and the entire state of Florida is just one big flat swampland. He wouldn't do that though, because then he would kill the birds and the bunnies and the alligators and stuff. He don't want to do that. Although I guess he could make his tentacle intangible to everybody but higher primates. So he would only, well, no, because that would squish gorillas and orangutans too. I guess he could just Homo sapiens. His tentacle is immaterial to everything, including buildings and trees and stuff, except for Homo sapiens. So when he squished all the Homo sapiens in the state, just all at once, just everybody pancaked. Just out of the blue, just boom, pancaked. Of course, then that's going to cause problems, because what about dogs that were in houses and stuff? Well, they're not going to be able to get out. They're not going to be able to get fed. So he's going to have to leave enough people to go do that. Unless, listen to me on this, he could squish all the Homo sapiens, turn them into pancakes, and then he could let all the other higher primates out of the zoos and tell them to go door to door and let all the dogs and cats out. So there, it all works out in the end. So it's not that hard. If we can figure it out, he can figure it out. Did you hear about the dog on Coyote Patrol rescue and that 2-year-old boy who got lost? Saw that. Yes, I did see that. I was actually watching a story about one of the livestock dogs, and it was a alpaca fighting with 2 coyotes, and the guardian dog came out of nowhere and took out one of the coyotes while the alpaca took care of the other one, which I feel sorry for the coyotes, but that was after that. I saw that. Do you remember that bozo who lied about how he could have us stop the oh yeah, I read that. Yeah, we talked about that already. I agree, courthouse can limit carry, but other government buildings should not infringe on rights. Yeah, I don't think they should either. Well, they have bulletproof glass and stuff at those anyway. Like if you go to the sheriff's office, it's bulletproof glass in front of all their things. If you go to the DMV, well, they should have bulletproof glass at DMV. They don't, but they should. That's one place I would agree with them having complete, total bulletproof glass is the DMV. Because when was the last time you were at the DMV and you didn't fantasize about murdering one of them? So, just fantasy. You wouldn't do it. I mean, I wouldn't murder no one unless they piss me off. But even then, I don't want to murder nobody. They always say, like, if you're an atheist, what's to stop you from going around and murdering everybody you want? Murdering and raping everybody you want? And I'm like, well, nothing, because I already do that. I already murder and rape everybody I want, which is nobody. I don't want to rape or murder anyone. The very fact that you think your religion is the only thing stopping you from raping and murdering shows you're probably not a good person. If you think that's the only thing stopping people, because apparently that's the only thing stopping you, which that's a reflection on you. Because I'm not religious and I don't go around raping and murdering. I ain't never raped anybody, period. And murder is a very specific circumstance. I've never done that either. Where were we? Had to double check my notifications were turned off. Yes, it's happening to a lot of people. What's your favorite Western gun? Probably Colt Single Action Army, Peacemaker. It's probably my favorite Western gun. My grandfather carved me one out of wood when I was a kid. Other than that, a lever action rifle, maybe a 1892, something like that. Mark Hawkins, are you Yankee Mark? What? I don't know what they're talking about. Know you go to comedy shows a fair amount. What are your thoughts on the limits of topics for comedy? IMO and anything is fair game. A skilled comedian can make anything work. The only limits I have with comedy, the only time I will actually say, fuck this guy, they're a piece of shit and leave, is if they attack people who are already marginalized. I mean, just are dismissive, angry towards, suggest violence towards people that are already a marginalized community, because that's not funny. When you want to be satirical, you attack power. You don't attack the powerless. So if someone's doing that, I got no use for them. In fact, that's why I left that one guy's concert on New Year's Eve, because he was a pathetic piece of shit. He was talking about beating up homeless people and just piece of shit. So he was always attacked all the time with homeless people and gay people and trans people. And I was just like, dude, you're not fucking funny. I would like to see a trans person come in here right now and you say that to their face. They'd probably beat the shit out of you. And he was a guy who had, gotten in a lot of legal trouble for some stuff he'd done that hurt a lot of people. And now he's trying to act like he's better than other people. So fuck him. But that's my only real limit on comedy. You can be as edgy as you want. And I'm not saying you can't make fun of marginalized people. Because if you are laughing with gay people, trans people, even homeless people, there's lots of jokes comedians have made about those situations, but they weren't attacking them. And it's still funny. There's not really any off-topic topics. There's just bad ways to go about it. If you are attacking a marginalized community or marginalized people or victimized people, that's not funny. Like if you make jokes that ridicule and demonize victims of the Holocaust, that's not funny. But Holocaust jokes can be funny. So it's a fine line, I guess. I don't think anyone should be told you can't do anything. But that's when I say, I will decide you're a piece of shit and you don't know how to do comedy and I don't want to watch you. A Florida man has been indicted for bringing a small arsenal of fireboards on board armed Amtrak train. Why would you carry an arsenal on an Amtrak train? What's an arsenal, though? Did he have like a gun on his hip and a gun on his ankle? And that's an arsenal? Or did he have like a box full of loaded rifles or something? I don't know what the full story is. What's your favorite gun that you consider exotic? Well, Berettas are from Italy. How exotic is that? That's a pretty exotic place. Don't you think? They're pretty exotic. They're all weird and smell funny, and they're just very different. Turkey's a pretty exotic place. If you had a gun from Turkey, that's pretty exotic. How do you clean the inner frame of the 642? Has a bit of residue on. I'm gonna get out. Well, I don't know what part you're talking about. Are you talking about? Yeah, what are you talking about? Like around the forcing cone? Because unless I know where you're talking about, I mean, just clean it, soak it, get you a little polymer pick. I've got like little polymer picks and stuff I use for things like that. Where's my clean tools? I have things like this. I don't know if you can see it, but this works really good if you soak around forcing cones and stuff, and you soak them, and then you go in here with the little polymer pick and pick out takes it right out of there usually. So always have your little picks and stuff. Did my order go through? Yes, I think I read it just a little bit ago. You need to take down the comment that's showing. I always leave up the last one unless they said that when we were getting ready to go do the chat. It does have a hammer just bobbed LEM trigger. Oh, I know it has a hammer. It's got a spurless hammer. Did I say hammerless or did I say spurless hammer? Because I know it's just a spurless hammer. I was on another channel the other day in a live chat, and the host displayed his gun, and it showed it in multiple different angles. YouTube did nothing about it. His video's still up. They don't treat people the same. They are definitely out to get you, bro. Yeah, I can't show anything. They'll get rid of me. I'm not divisive enough. And they've pretty much told me I'm not divisive enough. Those little tutorial things they sent me, it talks about how to know your audience and preach to them and win them over and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, where's lie to them? Tell them what they want to hear. Keep them angry. I'm like, no. A few years ago at my local park, some kids found a dead body during an Easter egg hunt. He likely expired the night before, sometime after the eggs were hidden. Well, they're leaving eggs out there all night. That's part about that that I find the worst, is that they're leaving the eggs out there all night. But we are now over by quite a bit, so we're going to wrap it up. I got to a lot of the chats here. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I want to thank everybody who helped support the channel, especially when the channel needs it. Remember, we got the new shirts up over there. YouTube is screwing us big time, and that's causing us to lose supporters and everything else because can't reach people. I had someone leave who unsubbed from Patreon the other day, a $20 a month person unsubbed because I hadn't put out a video in several months. It said right in his exit review, hasn't produced a video in several months. And I'm like, I do 3 videos a day usually because I'll give people stuff to watch because there's a lot of people who are just looking for stuff to kill time with. So that's not good. But as I was saying, thanks everybody for coming. I appreciate it. Appreciate everything you do for the channel. You're the only reasons we're still here. LEM Trigger, that was the name of what he said earlier. LEM Trigger. He said it in his thing and I just noticed it. But thanks everybody for everything you do. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, we're going to probably do the jerk circle tomorrow. So remember, we're going to be doing that. And I'll see y'all then, hopefully. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe. Till I see you again.